Hi, this is Brian David Marshall coming to you from the Tournament Center at World Championships in Rome. I'm here with Michael Jacob, member of the winning U.S. national team from last year's World Championships. And we're at the end of 6 rounds of Standard. Michael's just gone 4-2, playing his take on the Hedron Crab deck. Yeah. People call it Dredge, people call it the Crypt deck.
Yeah, Standard Dredge, yeah.
What have you been calling it?
Yeah, just the Standard Dredge is what everybody's been calling it, so that's what I basically have been doing it, yeah.
So the deck showed up on Magic Online, Shota Yosoka was playing it, it had Traumatize, a couple of clumsy cards. You put it up on the chassis, you went to work on it.
Yeah.
What were the major changes you made in the deck?
Basically, you take out Traumatize for Tome Scour, because it helps you tutor for your Crypt of the Agadems. So you go Tome Scour and do Great Discovery for the Crypts if you hit it, and then you basically play it on turn 3. On turn 4, your hope is to get like 8 mana or something. You would do a combination of Hedron Crabs and Tome Scours and cycling, so that you can start.
So the Crypt of Agadem is kind of like a Cabal Coffers.
Yeah, yeah. It's basically what makes the deck run. You're not going to win any game without it, so you have to have it every single game.
So, and what it does is it looks for black cards in your graveyard.
It works for black creature cards.
Black creature cards in your graveyard. So you're milling yourself with the crab, you're milling yourself with the Tome Scour, and you're cycling and...
You're cycling, and you're also milling yourself with the Distractor Demon whenever you bring something back.
Okay. And then, so you take all this mana, and then what's the end game?
Typically, what happens is that when you first use Crypt, it's like between 8 and 10 mana, and usually you don't have enough to kill them. So, like, you can if you have 2 Extractor Demons and 3 Seductive Specters, but that's pretty uncommon. What you normally do is that you bring back like a Rotting Rat and another Rotting Rat, and then you Seductive Specter, and you make them discard their hand, and then with an Extractor Demon, and then when Extractor Demon at the end of the turn, all your cards that got unearthed, you get to mill yourself for 2 more for each one of them. And then from the gas you get from that, the next turn is when you do the final hit.
So it's kind of like a 2-stage
Yeah, it's definitely 2 stages, yeah.
And you get multiple Extractor Demons in play. You can also hit your opponent from almost anywhere milling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Against several decks, like if they have like Wall Denials and Baneslayers, or if they're a mono green Eldrazi Monument Nissa deck, sometimes they have too many blockers or they gain too much life, so you can't kill them. So what you have to do then is you have to put multiple Extractor Demons into play, and then unearth everything that you can. And at the end of the turn, if say you have 3 Extractor Demons, everything that you unearth does 6. You mill them for 6, you mill them for 6, you do it over and over, and it really only takes 3 Extractor Demons, like 5 or 6 unearths to get there. And it's actually pretty easy against mono green because they don't have any disruption for you. So.
I've seen a lot of people working on ways to modify this deck. One of the things a lot of people wanted to do was put a Consume Spirit into the deck, or some sort of black X spell. You have all this mana. The temptation is, I want to use my mana and I want to kill you. Mm-hmm. Why would you argue against that kind of strategy?
The problem I have with that is that when you start adding a bunch of non-black creatures to the deck, you really destroy your explosiveness, and like your Hedron Crab is not much of a threat unless it actually can kill them. Like I've killed this deck on turn 4 before, and you can't have these type of draws without having enough black creatures. That's kind of why I have 1 Potter and 3 Carabids, because I had 3 Potters at one point and not as many Carabids, but I needed just more black creatures to be able to get there.
Right, you were taking a little grief from Jerry Thompson earlier about the Ponder.
Yeah, it's definitely tested. I tried up and down, and it's the right number. And another thing that I have in this deck that other people have Leviathan in the deck and Corpse Connoisseur, and I played with it and it wasn't fast enough, because you want this to be a turn 5 kill deck, and those are cards that do not help you with your turn 5 kill. And Face Stitcher is a ritual because you have 2 lands and you tap your Crypt of the Agadem, and then you unearth Face Stitcher with your islands you have left, and then you tap the Crypt of the Agadem again, so you usually get like 16 to 20 mana, and then you can unearth everything you have and get them.
So Sedraxis Spectre is another card that I haven't seen in a lot of these decks.
Yeah, so Sedraxis Spectre is what really sets this deck apart from all the other ones. Not only does, I play 4 Scalding Tarns in the mountain, so it's not inconceivable to just hardcast it on turn 3. It's also some other synergy is that when you have the mountain, you can Scalding Tarn for the mountain and cycle the Cariabid if you're looking for some black mana. But it's also a big part of your plan on games 2 and 3, because people board in like these relics or these Jun Charms, or they board in like these cards, and they board out the removal because removal is very bad against you. So when you play turn 3 Suggestic Spectre post sideboard, they really can't kill it, and it really helps with your plan B.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about your sideboard.
Okay.
There's a couple cards that I think are, people are going to be used to seeing. Something like a Death Mark. Seems like a staple sideboard card. Yep. I think we can figure out what those are for. Yeah, you were talking about the Cataract Leviathans earlier.
Yeah, against decks that you need to mill them, the Leviathans are terrific because your Extractor Demons will count all their creatures as well as yours for the Extractor Demons, so you just hit them for all of them.
Blister Beetle might be a little surprising for some people.
Yeah.
What is this card here for?
Blister Beetle is for the red-white, the Boros matchup. They have Step Links and Elite Vanguard and Plated Geopede and Goblin Bushwhacker. And all those cards are... Blister Beetle is the perfect answer to all those cards. Because it's a black creature that keeps you a high black creature count. And it's basically a 2-for-1 a lot of the times. Or it's like, kill a creature, gain 5 life. So it's perfect.
All right. Spreading Seas. What's going on here?
Spreading Seas is the innovation that made this deck, that made me play this deck, because Jund is obviously one of the most commonly played matchup, if not the most commonly played deck in the field. So, and they usually sideboard for Jund Charms. So I bought this deck on Magic Online, and I didn't buy the sideboard. I didn't have one yet. So I threw in some Spreading Seas, and because I was joking around like, oh, if I play the mirror match, you can get the Cryptic Agate in. By the way, it's also very good in the mirror match. But basically, you hit the red sources because the cards that defeat you are Goblin Rune Blaster and Jund Charm, and they require vast amounts of red mana to operate. And usually, on your games 2 and 3, all you do is you make sure that you can cast Spreading Seas on turn 2, and if you have it, turn 3. And they usually just can never come back from that. That's why it's also why it's in combination with the Death Marks, because they can cast Future Leech before you start getting rid of their mana, and then so all you have to do is just Death Mark their Future Leech, and they have no action.
All right. Finally, this is a card that's pretty interesting, and bonus points if people at home can tell me what this card does.
Yeah.
It's Immortal Coil.
Yeah.
What's this about?
Immortal Coil, it was because the red-white decks and the mono-red decks are terrible matchups for you, because they're usually like a turn faster than you, but they can kill turn 4, and you're usually like a turn 5 kill deck. And what you do is you cast your Tome Scourge, your Hedgehog Crab, you crack your fetch lands, you cycle your cards. They usually get you between like 2 and 5 life on turn 4, because you can chump block or do whatever you can, and then you cast Immortal Coil. And when you cast Immortal Coil, you usually have between 12 and 16 cards in your graveyard, so it's like gaining that much life. And they usually can't kill you. And from there, it's pretty easy to, like, Tome Scour turns into gain 6 life, draw 2 to 3 cards, and add 2 black to your mana pool. And and you start cracking fetch lands, and you start gaining life instead of losing life. And because this doesn't prevent life loss, it just prevents damage. And it also has some other things, because if you think you're going to lose to Baneslayer Angel, because the life gains are very relevant, because you can't do a ton of damage with this deck, this prevents the lifelink from Baneslayer Angel, and you just remove 5 cards in your graveyard and they don't gain the life. It's so perfect because it answers all the problems against like the random green aggro decks, so the decks that don't have ways to remove your graveyard.
Well, it's very exciting. I'm certainly excited to go on Magic Online and play this deck.
Absolutely.
Bust out my Immortal Coils. Try it out at home. We're going to be back all weekend long with more tournament centers, deck techs, and worlds updates. For Michael Jacob, this is Brian David Marshall signing off.